Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Moonhill magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center and I'm here with Nat with his movie Amanda Test 1. Let's take a little clip.
Sparkling seemed to break through thine azure eye, the morn spark through thine azure eye.
Nat, thanks so much for being here today.
Sure.
And thank you. I loved your film.
Oh,
thank you for sharing it with us.
Sure.
But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Amanda Test 1 is about a weekend that three friends are spending in the woods. And as the film goes on, we start to learn that they are revisiting a person they've lost inside of a computer simulation. So that's the film.
Why would you not want to watch it with that great synopsis, right? I mean, it sounds intriguing in itself. I was also intrigued because you had two separate writers and three separate directors.
Yeah.
How did the inspiration come for this film and how did you all come to collaborate together?
Almost everyone involved in the film came out of theater and experimental theater. And we all are used to a theater creating process called devising that is very collaborative and very process oriented and very much around everyone creating together. People still have roles. There's still a director, writer, actor, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of the creation of the piece itself, it's a less hierarchical structure. Everyone's voice is involved. So the film was really conceived by the director, producer, writer, and actors all kind of just talking about what we were interested in. And Bob, the producer who also appears in the film, had just always wanted to shoot something in Sonoma County where he's from on his parents' beautiful sort of farmland.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was really, the impulse to make it was really just a group of people. Most of us had never made a film before. Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and just wanting to learn and make something together and spend a little bit of time in a beautiful place. So yeah, we almost treated the film like a little bit, longer than 24-hour film festival, but we were like, you know what, let's just make this really fast. I think we put the shoot together in like 2 weeks or something like that, and then we had almost no budget, and we just knocked it out, and it was just really the goal was really just a learning experience and a collaboration experience for all of us.
I think it makes a lot of sense when you come from a theatrical background because you've really, when you're working in theatre, you really got to trust each other.
Yeah.
It's all about collaboration. It's a great ensemble of people working together, and obviously quite clearly it worked very well. And I think even just kind of turning rehearsal into performance, that whole experience, but this time on camera as well.
Yeah.
So obviously, you had to have some pretty awesome people involved to perform. How was the casting? How do you work out the casting for you?
The casting, again, was, we really just initially started with this group of friends, three of whom were actors. So we said, okay, we've got three characters. Colleen, the main actor, wanted to change her name, but the other two actors just kept their names just for the sake of, because we were working so quickly, we were like, okay, let's just make characters that are as close as possible to these people for ease's sake. So the actors came before the idea for the film came, so there really was no casting process other than that.
There's some pretty awesome locations as well, like from obviously a lot of exterior, and then the interior of the greenhouse is beautiful as well.
Oh yeah, I love that shot.
I love that shot. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. How was that process for you?
That was great, and we were lucky to work with an amazing DP named Hannah Getz, who was by far the most experienced person on the set. So she was a complete angel, working with a bunch of novices, having three directors behind the camera who we all collaborate very well. But she joked that we would be whispering to one another, like you say action this time. Yeah. So she and her work was totally amazing, and especially shooting the scene in the with the big redwood tree was really beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. It was a really tiny crew, and just getting to be out in these really beautiful places made the whole shoot just feel kind of like the film feels like a weekend with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love that scene with hugging the tree. Yeah. And is it hug me harder? Or, I love that. It's a really good line, a good analogy. I love it. It was really wonderful to watch. What was the biggest challenge you had in making it?
I mean, I think editing was really challenging. I also think, we put it together so fast. Ultimately, I'm very fond of the film. I personally don't know if it completely holds together as a full story. And when we initially wrote the script, we were really interested in this idea of a twist ending. And so there was this entire other plot line about Bob and Colleen reuniting after their parents had died, and we were trying to make you think that the dead person they were talking about was the parents instead of Amanda. Then afterwards, when we were editing it, we were like, it's a much more interesting story if you sort of know that something strange is going on with Amanda's character the whole time, rather than you just think you're spending a weekend with these people, and then boom, there's this big twist ending at the end. So in the editing process, we were really almost trying to edit it into a new story, which was challenging, but it was the first time any of us had been through an editing process, so it was really exciting to see how fluid film can be in the editing process, and that you can, you shoot this footage, but then you can turn it into almost anything that you want. I was saying before that we shot this scene with all these llamas in it, and so for a little while we were like, let's just make a film that's just about llamas. We'll overdub all the llamas. And so that was an exciting thing in the editing process, to just be like, wow, we could really turn this into anything. It could go in any number of directions, and we really did rework it a lot from the initial idea, which we wrote and came up with really fast without almost enough time to process it.
But I love that you mentioned that about editing, because I think it's a very unsung part of
it turns
filmmaking
into a movie,
and and it really could go in so many ways, and how much we thank the editors for helping us to create this amazing thing. I really love this kind of collaboration that almost you get from your theatrical background. I mean, literally you had 3 directors and 2 writers. That's 5 creative people who have been very heavily invested in directing how this film is going to go. Now that you've done that, how is that? Are you pleased that you worked, you had 5 people working on from directing and writing? How was that experience for you?
It was good. I mean, like I said, we're very process oriented, and so we, our biggest concern was everyone who was involved getting what they wanted out of the process, which for most of us was just a little bit of experience being on a film set, seeing what the process of making a film was like. So we were all very conscious about taking care of one another.
Good.
That said, right now, I'm working on a couple of a short and a music video with my main creative collaborator, Veronica, who was one of the other directors on the film. And we have a much longer working creative collaboration. We ran a theater company together So, it's always a balance. I find now that the two of us are sort of making work by ourselves, we're really able to go more deeply into our own voice and vision. But that wasn't necessarily the intention of making Amanda Test One. That was much more about this like open collaboration. And I think that meant that like no one necessarily fully realized a vision, but again, that wasn't what we were really going for. But so now I'm working on some projects that are more product oriented, and but that said, I think I'm very concerned with film sets being a safe place for people, and a place where people take care of one another and can play, be creative, and where people feel that they have a voice, because I think so much of the time film sets can be kind of a toxic environment. And so that's something I'm definitely taking from this process, is seeing like, it's possible for us all to really take care of one another on a film set, and not have egos flare up, and just know the stakes are not that high. We're all here, we're playing together, and we can make sure that everyone is having a good time.
No, definitely. What's the feeling like of making this project kind of an experimental almost for yourselves to experiment the process and to enjoy? What's it like then having it on the big screen at NewFilmmakers LA and at the festivals? How's that experience been for you with the audience?
Oh, it's really interesting. I mean, it's always very. It feels, like being naked when you show something in front of people. But it's really nice, and I think it was just especially nice last night to have everyone who worked on the film come back together.
That's great, isn't it?
And just say, look what we did.
Look what we did, and you're part of that, what made it happen together. And just finally, I know you kind of mentioned about what you'd like to create on sets and the environment and everything else, but as a filmmaker, is there anything that you really go by day as a filmmaker, or what, advice that you just kind of have for anyone else out there that wants to, follow in suit to your footsteps?
I mean, I think you have to, being on set can be such a crazy, stressful environment, and I think you have to find a way for yourself to not panic when you're on set. Because there's always an answer, there's always a solution. I think actually one of the best pieces of advice I've heard about filmmaking is just, if you want to make films, solve problems, and that's really all it is solving problems. There's always an answer, and if you can find a way to work really fluidly, where you're not you're not attached to an idea to the detriment of the full thing, and you can see, what if we did it a little bit differently? This way's not really working. I don't think we can make it work, but if we look, there's that thing over there, let's make that work. So I think being able to stay present and not try to let the stress and panic overtake you allows you to see all these possibilities that will make the film better.
Thank you very much.
I
appreciate that. Thank you, Nat. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for Amanda Test One, and on to the next one.
Thank you so much. It was a really great experience.
Thank you, Nat, everybody.
Thank you.